I don't know whether they make mistake.
Thank you, sir.
No. Okay. Direct me now.
No, you say you don't let me.
No, I'm not telling you that one. What is this?
What do you know? Small.
Okay.
If you won't make me feel well, touch your hands. Why no?
I'm weak. I'm very weak. I was thinking that with the death of Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, maybe we are beginning to see the end of this whole Israel-Gaza war. But it seems to escalate. It seems to escalate.
You never heard of me, never they said go come out.
I am weak.
Where?
Just in case you haven't been following the news, just bring you up to speed. On Saturday, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's private residence in Caesarea was hit by a drone launched from Lebanon. Israeli Israeli military apparently confirmed the incident, stating that the drone hit a structure near the Prime Minister's home. According to AFP, Israeli media outlet Channel 12 reported that a senior government official confirmed Iran's involvement in the attack. Netanyahu's office released a statement assuring that the Prime Minister and his wife, Sarah, were not at home during the attack and no injuries were reported. There were no injuries, statements emphasized. The attack marks a significant escalation in hostilities along Israel's northern border, with Hezbollah suspected of orchestrating the strike. 2 additional drones fired from Lebanon were intercepted by Israel's air defense system, preventing further damage. Sirens blared across several northern Israeli cities, including Haifa, Hamkabi, Kiryat Yam, and Kiryat Atta, warning of incoming rocket fire from Lebanon. The Times of Israel are reporting this. The Iranian military confirmed, and this is the part that is quite shocking because it's becoming scarier by the day, frankly. The Iranian military confirmed Hezbollah's involvement in the drone attack through an online statement, stating that Lebanese brothers targeted Netanyahu's residence in a drone attack. The escalation comes just days after the killing of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, signaling a shift in regional tensions. Iran is a key supporter of Hezbollah, has openly backed both Hezbollah and Hamas in their ongoing conflict with Israel. Visuals from outside Netanyahu's residence showed ambulances and medical personnel on the scenes, heightening concerns about possible injuries, though no official reports confirmed any casualties. Following the attack, Netanyahu addressed the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas, issuing a stern message to the people of Gaza. In a video posted on X, Netanyahu stated Yahya Sinwar is dead. He was killed in Rafah by the brave soldiers of Israeli Defense Forces, and so on and so forth, and also emphasized that 101 hostages are still being held in Gaza. Yet Netanyahu also revealed that the extent of the hostage crisis in Gaza, stating that Hamas is holding 101 hostages from 23 different countries, including Israeli citizens. I'm scared. I'm really scared. I just read the Twitter handle of Mossad commentary. Mossad, of course, is the intelligence unit of the IDF, and there was a comment made there, and this comment says the assassination attempt on Netanyahu is a welcome development. I'm trying to paraphrase it. It says it's a legitimacy, or it's a legitimate thing to do so as to kill the leader of Iran. That is Khamenei now. I'm trying to put it at least a little bit of, the way it says. It's on X right now, Mossad commentary. You can go and check it out. That the assassination attempt has legitimized their move to take out Iran's supreme leader, Khamenei. So it means that it is a possibility that Israel is planning to kill the supreme leader.
Charles, 6 p.m.
I gotta go for the news. I didn't even know it's up to 6 p.m. I swear to God. I just said come here like 30 minutes to 6. So it's in the around. Is it possible? This AC, you should increase it for me, I beg. Huh? Welcome to Global News on Signature Television. I'm Charles Pius. In the headlines, National Grid collapses third time in 1 week. Nigeria Immigration Service addresses visa on arrival application process. Hezbollah makes attempts on Netanyahu's life. And G7 defense ministers gather in Naples to discuss on wars in Ukraine and Middle East. Details in a moment. Power generation ceased around 8:16 a.m. It's worth noting The grid had tripped earlier on Monday and again on Tuesday during the restoration efforts. Checks from a source revealed that power generation was at 3,042 megawatts at 8 a.m., peaking at 3,968 megawatts at 7 a.m. However, by 9 a.m., generation had plummeted to just 47 megawatts. At the time of this report, the allocation to power distribution companies stood at 00.0 megawatts. The cause of the collapse remains unclear, as the Transmission Company of Nigeria could not be reached for comments. Meanwhile, the Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, has warned the public against the use of substandard and uncertified compressed natural gas (CNG) cylinders. The SON, in a statement by its management on Saturday, spoke following the news of the CNG cylinder explosion at the Nipco CNG refueling station in Benin City, Edo State. The organization commiserated with those affected by the incident. According to the statement's preliminary investigation revealed that the cylinder used to convert the vehicle does not comply with the CNG standards approved by the organization. The organization has robust and effective regulatory measures in place to ensure that all CNG equipment and conversion kits conform to approved standards before being certified for public use. The SON said it was in collaboration with the presidential initiatives on CNG and other relevant government bodies to finalize the Nigerian gas vehicle monitoring system. The statement said the platform would provide centralized monitoring and surveillance of CNG systems to ensure that only vehicles equipped with certified conversion kits could access gas at retail outlets. The NGVMS will also offer a database of approved CNG equipment and suppliers, which will go a long way in preventing substandard installation and further mitigate the associated risks. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Immigration Service has addressed concerns surrounding the visa on arrival (VOA) applications prompted by recent payments platform upgrades by Nigerian financial institutions. The NIS Controller General Kemi Nandab said this in a statement signed by the Service Public Relations Officer Kenneth Udo on Saturday in Abuja. Nandab assured the public that all NIS platforms were functional, advising applicants to utilize online applications from home and make payments using bank cards for seamless transactions. The Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control branch, has vowed to continue its ongoing strike action till their demands are met. The chairman of the chapter, Toboye Yodeji, said it was left for the agency's management to call the union for negotiations in order to see actionable evidence that things would be done appropriately. Recall that the workers of the agency began an indefinite strike on October 7th to demand the review of the 2024 promotion examinations. The strike was also to address the allegations that the majority of the staff were not promoted as a result of the purported vacancy slot from the head of service, even when they all qualified to be promoted. Ayodeji also claimed that some statutory arrears and other benefits were not paid to some of the staff employed by the agency in 2022. He explained that the union had earlier signed an agreement with the government and NAFDAC management in 2022 bordering on the workers' condition of service, which ought to have been finalized. The Minister of State for Water Resources and Sanitation, Bello Goronyo, has confirmed the federal government's commitments to strengthening water users associations and public irrigation schemes as a critical step towards achieving food security and economic growth. This was disclosed in a press statement signed by the Director of Information and Public Relations at the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, Funmi Imwetenya, on Saturday. The statement noted that the minister said this at the South-South Regional Workshop on the establishment and strengthening of the WUAs and public irrigation schemes in Nigeria in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. The minister emphasized that the importance of participatory water management in sustaining the nation's irrigation infrastructure. He stressed that the sustainable food production and national food security cannot be achieved without effective water management and an active involvement of water users, which makes the establishments and strengthening of the WUAs essential. The Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners has called on the federal government and the Ministry of Works to urgently rehabilitate the 65-kilometer Oyo-Ogbomosho highway. It said that timely repair is crucial to prevent potential spillage of petroleum products, which pose safety risks to the surrounding communities and road users. The call comes days after an explosion involving a tanker conveying petroleum products in Jigawa State. The association's president, Yusuf Othman, in a letter addressed to the Minister of the Federal Ministry of Works, David Umahi, said the deteriorating conditions of the highway has caused traffic to come to a complete standstill for several days. The narrative boss insisted that urgent and immediate attention of the roads has become expedient to forestall colossal damage to lives and property. The Rivers State government has joined Lagos State government to approve a minimum wage of 85,000 naira for civil servants in the state. This was disclosed by the heads of service of the state, Dr. George Nweke, who announced that the approval was granted by Governor Siminalayi Fubara during a closed-door meeting with labor leaders and senior government officials Friday, October 18th at the Government House. Nweke confirmed that the implementation of the new minimum wage will take effect immediately. The scale of this war, I am so scared. On their part, the chairman of the joint negotiation team, Chukwu Emecheta, praised Governor Fubara for meeting the expectations of Rivers State workers. He expressed his appreciation for the governor's commitments to the workforce. Also speaking, the chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress in Rivers State, Alex Agwanwo, noted that the minimum wage will greatly alleviate the economic hardships faced by workers in the state. So, the Mosaic commentary on X put up a tweet earlier, just as the attempt on Netanyahu's life happened. And they said something that I am really scared for. They said that the attempt on Netanyahu's life is a legitimate call for the killing of the supreme leader of Iran. That is what was said. I mean, a lot of people were waiting for Israel to, say a thing, not just saying a thing, more like respond to what Iran did few weeks back, where they threw into Israel over 180 missiles into Israel. And Israel said they are going to take their time to respond, but they will respond. And now nobody knows the scale of Israel's response. There has been calls from different quarters. So many persons, trying to picture or trying to think through what the scale of response would be by Israel. And now this. I am scared, really, for what's going to happen in the next couple of days. Israel is not going to let this slide. Malam Balar bin Lawal, the Minister of Environment, says the federal government is committed to securing the nation's forest. Lawal gave the assurance during the presentation of 11 Safari Hilux vehicles to the National Park Service, NPS, at the Agroclimatic Resilience in Semi-Arid Landscapes in Abuja. AKSAL is a World Bank financed project designed to tackle the pressing issues of land degradation, climate change, among others. The minister said that the President Bola Tinubu was very much interested in the operations of the NPS in order to address the menace of insecurity in Nigeria's forests. He expressed worries that some of the forests had become hideouts where bandits and kidnappers keep their victims. Lawal said that the deployment of the vehicles would significantly improve the NPS effectiveness in combating the dangerous trend of poaching and preservation of the wildlife. He said it was a milestone event to protect the natural resources of the country. Meanwhile, the financial expert Dr. Olutayo Badina has advised President Bola Tinubu to intensify efforts in strengthening the naira through taking conscious steps to uphold exports and minimize importation. Obadina gave the advice during a news conference in Lagos on Friday. He said that the only way out of the economic hardship in Nigeria was for the federal government to strengthen the naira. He noted that Nigeria's economic hardship was not occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy, but the constant devaluation of the naira. Analyzing the dollar rate to naira right from time, as well as fuel landing costs, pump price per liter, and purchase price, Obadina noted that the dollar cost of importing fuel had been the same over the years, even when other costs changed. He, however, said that he's pointed to the fact that the naira should be strengthened in the view of the fact that fuel transactions were made in dollar. President Bola Tinubu has extended warm congratulations to the Oba of Benin, Ewari II, as he marks his 71st birthday on October 20, which commemorates the 8th anniversary of his ascension to the revered throne of the ancestors. In a statement released by the Special Advisor to the President, Bayo Onanuga, on Saturday, Tinubu lauded the reign of the 40th Oba of Benin, noting that since his coronation in 2016, Oba Ewari II has ushered in a new era of peace, understanding, and civility among the people of Benin Kingdom. The President highlighted the monarch's distinguished career in diplomacy, which had influenced his leadership. Prior to his ascension, Oba Ewari II served as Nigeria's ambassador to several countries, including Angola, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, and Italy. Tinubu commended how his diplomatic experience has contributed to the Oba's ability to lead with wisdom and grace. He also praised the monarch's steadfast commitment to preserving the rich cultural heritage and traditions of the Benin Kingdom. Meanwhile, prominent Nigerians in the likes of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, Goodluck Jonathan, Ibrahim Babangida, and President Bola Tinubu have celebrated retired General Yakubu Gowon as he marked 90th birthday celebration. The dignitaries who spoke at the public lecture in commemoration of Gowon's birthday anniversary urged younger generations and present leaders to emulate his lifestyle of uniting the country. President Tinubu at the event celebrated in Abuja on Friday praised Gowon for his remarkable achievements for Nigeria. Tinubu, who was represented by Senator George Akume, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, said that Nigerians would not forget Gowon for his indelible marks in the country. Also, former President Obasanjo described Gowon as a man of destiny, adding that Gowon's birthday celebration was a national one, which would remain a memorial in his mind. Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Alhaji Muhammad Abubakar III, said Gowon's life was worthy of emulation, looking at the past contributions to the growth of Nigeria. According to Abubakar, Gowon, as a former head of state, had, during his time as the head of government, fought hard for the unity of Nigeria. Also, Dr. Akin Wumi Adesina, President, African Development Bank Group, who delivered birthday celebration lecture on building a global Nigeria, said Gowon remained the greatest father, an exceptional global leader. Adesina, who recalled Gowon's commitments and achievements, called on the current leaders to embark on building a global Nigeria that would stand out among nations of the world. Responding, Gowon expressed gratitude to God for sparing his life. He thanked all the dignitaries present, including President Tinubu and other Nigerians, both home and abroad, for celebrating with him. Enugu East, an East user federal constituency, has witnessed a notable step towards improved infrastructure as Professor Paul Namchi, the member representing the constituency, commissioned solar-powered streetlights in the area. This initiative, aimed at enhancing nighttime security and visibility, was part of Namchi's thank you tour across various communities to express his gratitude for their overwhelming support during the 2023 general elections. Signature TV was there. I'm really pained by what is going on in the world. With this new escalation, earlier I was asking that Israel change its tactics and try to see what they could do in the Gaza Strip with helping with the catastrophe over there, the killing, the displacement, and the suffering that is in Gaza. It's unprecedented. So I was advocating that since Sinwar is down and out, they should focus on trying to rebuild Gaza. At least we can now see the end of the war of some sort. But with this escalation, with this latest move by Hezbollah, the Iran-backed Hezbollah, to attack Israel, and not just attacking Israel, but attempted to kill Netanyahu, attacking his private residence in Israel. I mean, I don't have to. It's not something to put on the plain paper. It's inexplainable. You know how very, very security conscious Israel is when it comes to, issues like this, their borders and even security around Israel. You can imagine, Netanyahu himself, given what's going on, how double check they might have done around him. But to have attempted to attack him by shooting a drone into his home in Caesarea, it's something I cannot imagine. And we're still talking about the fact that they threw in 180 missiles into Israel and they haven't actually responded. And now this. You think Israel is going to be quiet? Oh, God. I really don't know what's going to happen, really. With their latest string of intelligence precision, and killing of Sinwar, killing of Hezbollah leaders, Hamas leaders in recent weeks, and his statements stating clearly that there's nowhere that they cannot reach, warning Iran that there is nowhere that Iran cannot reach, that there's nowhere Israel cannot reach. I was thinking that Iran would try to de-escalate what's going on. At least let there be some sort of peace. We're talking about ceasing fire in Gaza, but this has continued. There is a video also trending online where a lot of Hamas fighters surrendered to Israeli forces. At least that showed a bit of, direction, because all this while it has just been bombing and bombing and bombing. But over the last few days, in fact, few hours, because of what has happened with the killing of Sinwar, it looks like it has weakened the hierarchy of Hamas, and so we've seen a wave of surrender by Hamas fighters to Israel forces. But to what extent, really, do you think that would change anything, especially as it concerns the killing, the attempt on Netanyahu's life? I'm scared, and Israel might go for the supreme leader in Iran. And if it does that, given that Iran has a nuclear weapon, I keep saying this thing, I hope that Israel's move, whatever it is that they're going to do, either going for Khamenei's head, or attacking their facilities, I hope it doesn't make Iran deploy a nuclear weapon, because that will be devastating. I mean, nobody knows the scale of this fight, the scale of this war. It's scary. From where I am watching what's going on, it's scary, and everyone should be scared, really, because there's a type of move that Israel would make, and Iran might be forced to use a nuclear weapon. That's just my fear. And when it uses the nuclear weapon, I mean, you don't know the scale. You don't know the scale. Nobody knows the scale. I mean, my head is just going pop, 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 pop. I mean, what's going to happen? But I see that there's this very strong collaboration between, the EU and then, and of course, US and America. There's a very, very strong surveillance on Iran. And so hopefully, whatever Iran does after whatever Israel would do to them, even if they try to use a nuclear weapon, they may not be able to do that. You know, the U.S. and Israel, with their sophistication, will be able to stop it, because Iran seems to be that kind of country that can decide that since you have taken out our leader, or since you've done that to us, the only way out of this is to make sure everybody goes down, like kill as many as possible, and let the world suffer for it and pay for it. That's the type of country that I see Iran to be. I might be wrong, but that's the type of country that I think Iran is. I'm really scared. I don't know about you. Tell me about what you think. I'd love to hear from you. I'll be going back to the news, but stick around. I still have some update for you. Still to come, Kano Hisba arrests Jigawa commissioner for adultery. 18-year-old arrested for kidnapping neighbor's son in Sokoto. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Global News. The Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, on Saturday said it had rescued a truck driver involved in a multiple accident at Sele Bridge along Oshodi-Apapa Expressway. The permanent secretary of the agency, Olufemi Oke-Osonyitolu, who made this known in a statement, said that the accident happened late on Friday night. He added that the information gathered revealed that the truck suffered mechanical failure while ascending the bridge, rolled backwards, and in the process partially fell on the car and tricycle behind it. No life was lost in the incident. However, an adult male, the truck driver, sustained injuries. The LASEMA boss said measures had been taken by responders to evacuate the vehicles from the bridge. Mob on Saturday afternoon killed a yet-to-be-identified assistant superintendent of police with the Lagos State Police Command on the Agege area of Lagos. The disease had led a team of policemen to an accident scene along the Wemco Junction by Mobile Road, Agege, before his team came under heavy attack from commercial motorcyclists, also known as Okada riders. It was learned that the policeman had gone to evacuate a truck that knocked down an Okada rider, but met stiff resistance from the riders, who insisted that they must set the truck on fire. Confirming the incident, the spokesperson for the Lagos State Police Command, Benjamin Hundeyin, said that the killing of the policeman was needless and uncalled for. Hundeyin said the police team got a distress call at about 1:40 a.m. on Saturday about an accident that involved an Okada rider and a trailer at Wemco Junction, Mobile Road by Penn Cinema, Agege. The policeman's in the process. Hundeyin stated that 5 suspects have been arrested in the process. Meanwhile, the Kano State Hisba Board has confirmed the arrest and detention of the Jigawa State Commissioner of Special Duty, Awal Danladi Sankara, in an uncompleted building with a married woman. The board's Director General, Dr. Abba Sufi, confirmed the arrest on Sankara with a married woman on Friday evening. He said the arrest was made possible through intelligence tracking after receiving a series of complaints of his nefarious acts with a married woman by her husband's younger brother. According to him, the arrest followed the complaints by Nasiru Bulama, the woman's husband, who accused the commissioner of engaging in an illicit affair with his wife, Taslim Baba Nabegu, the mother of his 2 children. They said that Nasiru Bulama filed the complaints with the Kano State Police Command, the Department of State Services, and the Hisbah Board, alleging Sankara's involvement in the illicit sexual activities with his wife. Meanwhile, the Sokoto State Police Command has tracked down on a kidnapping syndicate, arresting the prime suspect, 18-year-old Abba Aliyu, who is a neighbor to the complainant from the Bodan Yahaya area of Sokoto. A statement made available to newsmen in the States on Saturday by the spokesman of the command, ASP Ahmed Rufai, said on October 16, 2024, at about 12 a.m., Ibrahim Shehu reported to the anti-kidnapping units attached to the Criminal Investigation Department, Sokoto, that his son, Saidu Ibrahim, 2 years old, had gone missing since October 13, 2024, at about 6 p.m. Despite efforts to locate him, his whereabouts remained unknown until the abductor demanded 2 million naira for his release via phone call, after which the sum of 500,000 naira was paid before the victim regained freedom. Detectives swiftly contained or coordinated intelligence-led operations tracing the location of the suspect at Badon Hanya behind Zazon filling station, which led to his arrest. The Headquarters Training and Doctrine Command Nigerian Army has denied the allegations of illegal detention of a civilian by the command's military police in Mina military cantonment. The acting deputy director, Army Public Relations for Trado Limited, Colonel Sani Uba, dismissed the allegations in a statement on Friday. Uba said the allegation published by an online medium on Wednesday had alleged that some officers of the Tradoc connived, arrested, and detained a civilian on the orders of the commander over suspicion that he wanted to defraud a food vendor. He said it was important to address the misinformation that sought to undermine the integrity of both Tradoc NA, its leadership, and the entire personnel of the command. He alleged that the sum of 1.1 million naira was withdrawn from her first bank account. On receipt of the case, the MP was able to arrest the suspect on October 6, since the offense was committed in Mina cantonment when the suspect visited the victim at her business place. The reinstated Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shuaibu, has stirred the honest nest as he has offered a financial reward to the tune of 1 million naira to anyone who has information concerning the alleged looting of government property as the administration winds down. Shuaibu, in a press briefing in Benin City, said he has evidence backing the alleged looting in some quarters and last-minute borrowing from some financial institutions. He also called on the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, the Department of State Services, DSS, and other relevant agencies to look into the alleged misappropriation of funds meant for projects in the Ministry of Roads and Bridges, ongoing Radisson Hotel project, and last-minute appointments by the outgoing administration. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Kaduna State has debunked reports that the party was boycotting Saturday's local government elections in the state. The state PDP chairman, Edward Marshall, gave the hint while speaking with newsmen in Kafanchan, headquarters of the Jamar local government area. Marshall said that any attempt by the APC to manipulate the outcome of the elections would be resisted. He said that while its agents were inspecting sensitive materials at the CIACOM office in Kaduna before distribution, it was noticed that results sheets were not included. Marshall called on the party faithful to remain calm and conduct themselves in a peaceful manner. In celebration of the United Nations World Food Day, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has called for action on food security as the Lagos Farm Fair held at the Police College, Ikeja. The event seems right to foods for a better life and a better future underscore the significance of agriculture and smallholder farmers in driving sustainable development and ensuring access to nutritious food for all Nigerians. He emphasized the need for ongoing public-private partnerships to combat hunger and malnutrition across the country. Odiri Erewa Magison, board directors of the British American Tobacco Nigeria BATN Foundation, reaffirmed the foundation's long-standing dedication to empowering Nigeria's agricultural sector. She highlighted the BATN's support to over 300,000 smallholder farmers and the positive impacts on more than 1.7 million lives nationwide over the last 2 decades. Meanwhile, the National Orientation Agency, NOA, says the demise of Jonathan Silas Zwingina has deprived the nation of a grassroots mobilizer and courageous patriots who stood against disunity and falling moral fabric of the nation. In a condolence message to the family of the late patriot, the NOA Director General Malam Nanre Isa Onilu described the late Jonathan Zwingina as a gifted and rigorous mobilizer who, in both private and public life, stood for the unity, progress, and development of the nation. He said Zwingina, as a pioneer director in the former mass mobilization for self-reliance, social justice, and economic recovery, MAMSA, now NOA, was one of the officers that laid the foundation for the agency's work in preaching the virtues of hard work, integrity, sincerity, forthrightness, and intolerance, which has remained the core values of our nation. Onilu noted the devotion of Zwingina to family and community values as he spoke for unity and development of the country, adding that he used his oratory to propagate unity, love, peace, and oneness in Nigeria at a time when many fanned the embers of disunity and disintegration. While condoling with his family, the Director General urged them to take solace in many accomplishments of the politician, especially his devotion to the cause of unity in the country, which has earned him both admiration and recognition from across social, ethnic, religious, and political affiliations. Still to come, Russia and Ukraine swap 95 war prisoners each. Biden says there is no consensus about long-range weapons for Ukraine. These are more after the break. This table is not my height. I'm bending to be the other one. Welcome back. You're watching Global News on Signature Television. Video released by the Ukrainian Ombudsman on Saturday showed prisoners of war reuniting with loved ones after Ukraine and Russia said they exchanged 95 service members on Friday. The Russian Defense Ministry said an agreement was completed with the help of the United Arab Emirates acting as mediator. A private Russian group which says it looks after the interest of prisoners of war published a list of returnees and said most of those being brought home were captured in the Kursk region, where Ukrainian forces staged an incursion in August. Those forces remain in Kursk, though Russia's military says its forces have clawed back some of the captured territory. Meanwhile, the involvement of North Korean troops in the Russian invasion of Ukraine would be a huge escalation risk. Ukraine's foreign minister told a joint press conference alongside his French counterpart in Kyiv on Saturday. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky accused North Korea this week of deploying officers alongside Russia and preparing to send 10,000 soldiers to help Moscow war efforts. Russia and North Korea both deny they have engaged in arms transfers. The Kremlin has also dismissed South Korea's assertions that North Korea may have sent some military personnel to help Russia against Ukraine. France's Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot said if it were proved true that North Korea was sending troops to support Russia in Ukraine, it would be a major escalation and would show that Moscow was struggling in the war. He added that Paris was open to the idea of an immediate invitation for Ukraine to join NATO, but that talks would continue on the subject with allies. Videos released by Ukraine's State Emergency Service on Saturday show rescue personnel fighting to extinguish a fire at a building following what officials say was a Russian missile strike in the residential district in Ukraine's Black Sea port of Odessa. An official city telegram channel said a 3-story building has sustained damage along with 10 private homes. No casualties were reported. Reuters was not able to independently verify the location or the date when the video was filmed. There was no independent verification of the report. Odessa and port facilities in the region have come under increased Russian attack in recent weeks. U.S. President Joe Biden said on Friday that there was no consensus for giving Ukraine long-range weapons that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been requesting Western nations for months to conduct deeper strikes into Russia. Right now, there's no consensus for long-range weapons, Biden told reporters in Berlin. And former U.S. President Barack Obama campaigned for Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic presidential nominee, in Tucson, Arizona. The former president and his wife remain immensely popular with a Democratic base and are expected to be effective closers in the final stretch of a campaign relying on turnout from loyal Democrats in states where victory margins are thin. Obama has been crisscrossing the battleground states with a solo event recently in Pittsburgh and more to come in the coming days in Las Vegas, Detroit, and Madison. During Friday's rally, Obama questioned former President Donald Trump's competence. Obama also mocked Trump's behavior during a recent town hall. British Foreign Secretary David Lammy says businesses wanted stability and clarity in trade with China as London seeks to reset relations with Beijing under the new Labour government. Lammy is meeting with British business leaders in Shanghai to discuss Chinese trade links as part of a two-day China trip, which also included a visit to Beijing. Britain has made major shifts in its approach towards China in the past decade, moving from saying it wanted to be China's greatest supporter in Europe to being one of its fiercest critics, and now trying to improve relations. Britain's relations with China under the previous government were soured by the clashes over human rights, Hong Kong, and allegations of Chinese espionage. Defense ministers from the group of seven G7 major democracies met in Naples to discuss the war in Ukraine and the current situation in the Middle East. During his opening remarks, Italian Defense Minister Guido Crosetto talked about a deteriorated security framework and the confrontation between two different, perhaps incompatible visions of the world. Italy, which hosts the rotating presidency of the G7, has decided for the first time in history to include a session on defense in the ministerial meetings program. The ministers will meet in two sessions, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, while bilateral activities are expected to take place afterwards. A trilateral meeting between Italy, Britain, and Japan is also planned to discuss the Global Combat Air Program, which involves the development of a sixth-generation stealth fighter. Meanwhile, Italy's Defense Minister Guido Crosetto held talks with his Japanese counterpart Jen Nakatani ahead of a defense summit in Naples. The Kyoto news agency, citing the Japanese government, said Japan and Italy had substantially agreed on a defense pact that facilitates the exchange of supplies and logistical support. Crosetto and Nakatani welcomed the agreements during their meeting, which could or would simplify the sharing of resources such as ammunition, fuel, and food between the Italian and Japanese militaries. European Union's foreign policy chief said on Saturday, October 19, the ceasefire was a priority in the Middle East and the killing of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar by Israeli forces could increase the tension in the region. He said the UN peacekeeping mission in Lebanon, known as UNIFIL, could be strengthened, having more under fire in clashes between Israel and its Lebanese enemy Hezbollah. Protesters marched through Senegal's capital, Dakar, on Saturday, protesting Israel's actions on Gaza and Lebanon and calling for a ceasefire in the escalating Middle East conflict. The demonstrators, many from Dakar's Lebanese community, waved flags and carried banners demanding peace. Protesters expressed concern over the conflict's spread to Lebanon and Yemen. Participants highlighted long-standing ties between Senegal and Lebanon, emphasizing both their Lebanese heritage and Senegalese citizenship. They voiced solidarity with Palestinians and Lebanese affected by the violence. The protesters urged stronger international action to stop the violence and criticized what they described as unequal treatment of Israel in global forums. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi condemned the killing of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar on Saturday, October 19th, repeating that Iran was ready for any scenario regarding a potential conflict with Israel. Speaking during a press conference with his Turkish counterpart, Araghchi said Iran wanted a reduction in tensions, adding that war in the region remained a serious possibility. Sinwar, the architect of Hamas' deadly October 7, 2023 attack on Israel that triggered the war in Gaza, was killed on Wednesday, October 16th in a gunfight with Israeli forces after a year-long manhunt, and his death was announced on Thursday, October 17th. At least 2 people were killed in an Israeli strike near the Christian majority town of Jonia, north of the Beirut. Lebanon's health ministry said on Saturday in the first attack on the area by Israeli forces. The Israeli military was looking into the report of the strike in Jonia. A spokesperson says there was no immediate comments from Hezbollah, the Lebanese armed group that is fighting Israeli troops on Lebanon's southern border and whose top leadership has suffered blows from targeted Israeli strikes. The health ministry say the Israeli strike targeted a car. Meanwhile, the Israeli military said Hezbollah had fired dozens of rockets and several drones into northern Israel, killing 1 person. Hezbollah, by midday on Saturday, had claimed 11 attacks on Israeli military targets since midnight, all of them with salvos of rockets. There was no immediate comments from it on any drone attacks or attacks targeting Netanyahu's home. In northern Israel, some of the rockets were intercepted, but one hit a residential building, according to police. 1 person was killed and at least 9 people were injured in different locations. The Israeli ambulance service says air raid sirens sent people running to shelters. Meanwhile, a drone was launched towards Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's home in the northern Israeli town of Caesarea on Saturday. His spokesperson says, adding that the premier was not in the vicinity and there were no casualties. Earlier, the Israeli military said that the drone was launched from Lebanon and that it had hit a building. It was not immediately clear what the building was. Two more drones that crossed into Israeli territory were intercepted by the military. The military says there were no casualties reported. According to the Israeli ambulance service, and police says explosions had been heard in Caesarea, coastal town where Netanyahu has a holiday home. The drone attack was not immediately claimed by the Lebanese Iran-backed group Hezbollah, which has been trading fire with Israel since last October, or any other militant group. A Guatemalan judge ruled that jailed journalist Jose Zamora can leave prison and be held in a house arrest after over 800 days behind bars. Zamora, a well-known journalist who founded the now-defunct El Periodico newspaper and whose work has criticized successive governments, was arrested in July 2022 on money laundering charges. Zamora was in 2023 sentenced to 6 years in prison for money laundering. An appeals court later overturned the conviction and ordered a new trial for 2025. Mexico's Navy said it has seized some 8.4 metric tons of illicit cargo and arrested 23 people in its largest ever drug busts. The Navy also seized 8,700 liters of fuel and 6 boats off the coast near Lázaro Cárdenas in Michoacán State and further south of the coastal of Guerrero State. The seized assets are worth at least 2 billion pesos, that's $100 million, it said. The United States has pushed Mexico to ramp up its efforts to stop drug trafficking, while Mexico has pressured the United States to do more to stem the flow of firearms to criminal groups across the border into Mexico. Ebonyi State has joined the League of States with football club following the acquisition of a brand new club by the state government. Ebonyi State, 3 years after its creation in 1996, founded a football team called Ebonyi Angels Football Club by the first executive governor, Dr. Sam Egu. The club, playing under Pro Division II amidst different challenges ranging from poor funding, went moribund and finally disbanded in 2007. Though successive administrations have recorded different landmark achievements in the sports sector, such as the construction of Ngele Oruta Township Stadium and the recent ongoing ultra-modern 30,000 capacity stadium. But the truth remains that the states, for the 17 years, has never been represented in any football tournaments due to lack of a football club. The new team, rebranded Abakaliki Football Club, was through the purchase of a National League club known as the Coal City Football Club, qualified to participate in NNL 2024-2025 season, built to start in few weeks. Commissioner for Youth Development and Sports at Ebonyi State, Prince Richard Idike, and Director of Sport at Ebonyi State, Dr. Imale Otobo. The Sports Commissioner added that the measures are also in place to constitute a formidable technical team with a health coach that will work hard to restore the lost glory of the state in sports. Meanwhile, screening is ongoing to sign more quality players for a successful campaign in the league, as the common target is to gain promotion to the Nigerian Professional Football League, NPFL. And as the news is hour, and let's get your thoughts on our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Signature News, Signature TV News. Also visit our website at www.signaturetv.org for trends and more stories as it concerns you. I'm Charles Pius. Thanks for watching. Good evening. Well, done with the news. One full hour of news. It's been one interesting thing that I do every single day of my life, maybe at least 6 days in a week. But just to wrap things up, I'm really scared at the scale of what's going on in the Middle East. I just hope we don't have a situation where nuclear weapons will be used at any time, in this so-called war. That's what scares me the most. When people start using nuclear weapons, and when you use nuclear weapons, there's no direction to the nuclear weapons. There's no special direction. It's not like you want to target this certain place and then you use it, and it is situated at that place. So you don't know the scale of the use of a nuclear weapon. And Iran hasn't really done anything that made any sense in the last few years. They may want to do something at the end of the day, another thing, meaning that they are not precise in whatever it is that they're doing. So that's what I'm scared about the most. I don't know. That tweet by Mosaic commentary on X is what scares me even more. I get, hypertensive when I think of that tweet. That there's an intel that they might start going against the supreme leader of Iran, and that might significantly raise further tension in the Middle East. I'm really scared. I don't know what you think. Just let me know what you think in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. I truly appreciate it. Cheers.